Hello everyone and welcome to this week's live stream. Today's stream will be a little bit different as it's just Sween and I chilling with all of you guys at home. There are a few things that we do want to go over today, but otherwise we don't actually have any agenda in mind at all. So what we're going to do instead is basically read questions from the chat. So we'll try and answer as much as we can. At Old School RS, we'll have people pulling in questions for us, but also try and just freestyle it and grab them as you post them. And we'll just see how it goes. Before that, we've got some announcements. But before we do the announcements, hey Sween, how are you today?
I'm all right, mate. Then. Not too bad. Not too bad. Won't lie, I had a couple of drinks last night, so it's quite a slow start to the day, but I'm getting there. Ooh. Looking forward to our sleepover later. That'll be fun.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to it as well, always. As soon as I finish the stream today, the first thing I'll do is get in the car and make my way to yours.
Come hang out.
Yeah, you know it. Although make sure we have to get an early night because I'm doing good, but I'm really tired. I've had way too many late nights this week. I've been a little bit addicted to playing my Iron Man. Yeah, definitely not currently gaining experience whilst hosting the live stream. That is not happening.
Talent, mate.
I'm lying. It is happening. All right, announcements. First up, poll. Next content poll is now live. From Awakened, Desert Treasure 2 bosses, and Blood Torva to some quality of life improvements for the Wilderness, Tombs of Massacre, and more. Hop in game and vote via the account settings menu or the poll booth. And you can see all the information about that with !poll. We're going to talk about Poll 80 as well as one of the first topics of discussion before we go on to chat questions, because I know there's a bit of confusion and such and a bit of frustration as well. Rightly so, and we'll try and explain as best as we can in terms of what happened with that. Speaking of the Awakened bosses, with !Awakened, you can get all the latest information on the challenging variants of the Desert Treasure 2 bosses, which will include the Blood Torva ornament kit, and an update on the Torva kit, generally speaking, from the art team as well. So make sure you check that out before you vote. Really important. Following on from there, nicely, it's almost as if it's been planned somewhat. DT2, Desert Treasure 2, The Fallen Empire. It releases next week on July the 26th. So get ready for it with this all-encompassing blog that includes all the info that we've shared so far. It will tell you the requirements that you need and everything else. So DT2 for that. And the last announcement that we have to go over today is client, which is some really exciting news, actually. We've added the C++ client, which was previously only available on Steam, to the Jagex launcher, which means it's now more widely available than ever before. There's a whole bunch of features in there. I know that a lot of you use RuneLite, but there are actually some things in there that we can do a little bit differently. So if you haven't already, check it out with client, and it'll also tell you a little bit more about what it means as a whole. Sween, are there any other announcements you think we should go over before I talk about Poll 80?
Don't think so, mate. None that comes to mind.
Well, I'll go over it then, and then I'll ask some questions that you can answer so that I can stop talking for a little while. In fact, you can talk about the roadmap. You can do the sell on that, all right?
Okay, I thought you were going to put me on Poll 80 then. I'll be honest, I haven't followed it too closely. I'm just reading the blog now.
No, it's all right. I got it. Okay, so Poll 80.
Thank you.
I think from what I've seen, at least, the biggest amount of discussion was mostly frustration around what players would perceive as being a bit of a bait and switch, where we put a load of questions in there. Some of them felt like they shouldn't have been polled. Some of them felt like that they were just being asked for the sake of being asked. And then we went out and basically changed a load of the questions to be unpolled. And a lot of them, quite frankly, were relating to the Wilderness. And I think a few players were a little bit annoyed by that because of some of the changes benefited PKers, but the majority of them actually benefited just general players across the board. And I just wanted to basically be completely and brutally honest with you in regards to Poll 80. The fact of the matter is that we messed up. There's no two ways about it. We implemented the polling charter late last year. And I know that we're like over halfway through this year now, but it is still a process that we're kind of getting accustomed to internally. And the reality of Poll 80 is that normally when we have these larger polls, they'll go through a pretty thorough review process to make sure that everything has been covered the way it needs to be, that questions have been asked in the way that they're meant to be, so on and so forth. But as with a lot of things, reality doesn't always meet up with expectations. We had a lot of work going on at the time. We've still got a lot of work that we're going on with. You can tell by the fact that we've got Desert Treasure 2 coming out. We've got the Summer Summit to prepare for. And I was also away for a little while at a conference to talk about what we do in community, actually, in Old School. So that review process basically just didn't happen the way it would normally. And a lot of the questions that we moved, well, all of the questions that we moved to being unpolled, in all honesty, we would have had them as unpolled changes because they should have been unpolled changes as per the new polling charter. It's just unfortunate that they were added in their form as being polled. So really sorry about that. That at least explains the whole why were there so many poll questions being changed to unpolled. And I'll quickly touch on some of the changes that I think a few players weren't so happy with that we decided to make. And I think like some of the delays when it comes to entering the caves, so on and so forth. A lot of those changes, when you look into what the actual purpose of them are, is either to benefit nefarious players from being able to benefit from abusing content and then making the experience worse for others, or they're just quite frankly imbalanced and need to be adjusted to make the experience as a whole more in line with what we're aiming to achieve. And as per the polling charter, those kind of things don't get polled. So that's why we've looked to make them. We've seen a lot of the feedback coming in from the changes that we have made. I know that some players weren't too happy about the delay in the wilderness boss caves especially. But I think overall, when you consider all of the changes as a collective, your experience as a normal player shouldn't actually be all that different at all. I saw some commentary around the change to the Revenant caves and being able to freeze people and stop them from going over the agility obstacles, and commentary that may now make players PVMing in there feel more like prey. But in all honesty, I don't think it will really change all that much. It just stops you being able to hop back and forth over an obstacle multiple times to try and avoid taking damage, which isn't really engaging gameplay. And it also offers you the potential for a counterplay. First of all, not a lot of PKs have the agility levels to actually use those obstacles because they like to kill people and not train agility in game, of course. But if you are able to be in a situation where you can afford to bring some freezes yourself, entangles, ice barrage, all that kind of stuff, you can actually freeze them before they jump over the obstacle, get over the obstacle yourself, and you've guaranteed yourself an escape. So it definitely works both ways. We're interested to see how it goes down, and we'll continue monitoring it like we would with everything else. And then the last thing I want to address in regards to Pol 80 is the disappointment as to how many changes there were for Tombs of Mascot and Chambers of Xeric. And all I can say is that I understand why. There's been a lot of conversation over the last few months talking about how from Pol 78 we were going into Pol 79 to look at more raid changes. That didn't happen. Pol 79, we said it would happen in Pol 80. Then obviously Pol 80 came out and we didn't do half as much as we'd intended or wanted to do for Tombs of Mascot and Chambers of Xeric. And that is just because of resource on our end. A lot of the changes that are focused around the wilderness were already pretty much developed, or designed and developed during Game Jam. And it's much easier for us to pull in content that we know that we can deliver, that we know is going to be able to be released, than to propose something that we don't have an idea on exactly when we can put that out. So it's really just an apology. We definitely are aware of that. We are 100% looking into what else we can do for Tombs of Mascot and Chambers of Xeric. And we actually have some pretty exciting news to share with you soon in regards to what we want to do with those areas, Chambers of Xeric especially. So just keep an eye out for upcoming news and information. And I can fully imagine that there will be a focus on Tombs of Mascot in particular very soon, because we've already got all the feedback. We have a lot of information in regards to what changes you want to make. We've surveyed you on it and stuff. So fingers crossed, we'll be able to fit that into the schedule. That's all I really have to say about Pol 80 for now. So I know it's a lot of just apologies, a little bit of explanation. Hopefully it makes sense and we can get around to them as soon as we can. All right, that's me done for a little while. How about we show the roadmap and Sween can take the reins for a little minute.
I feel guilty. The roadmap's great and you've just spent like 10 minutes self-flagellating.
It's all right, we can go from a low to a high.
Fair enough. It'd be nice if you got to share some good news, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I work in community, and you don't anymore. So you get to reap the benefits of that. Yeah,
I escaped. Anyway, quite a short and sweet roadmap, mainly because straight after Desert Treasure 2, which launches next week, we have the Summer Summit, which is where we'll be unveiling more content going through the rest of the year and also into early 2024. So essentially what we do now with the summits is show you what's coming up around the next 6 months or so. There's now also I think it's added, right? Yeah, the roadmap link on the Old School website. So what we're going to try and do is just develop that even further. Showing this type of stuff is quite cool because it's the really big features, but probably following on from what you were talking about, poll 80, and how we want to be more transparent around the kind of quality of live polls. I think it'd be quite interesting for us to explore how we also convey the smaller changes that are a bit more up in the air. Development's not quite so fixed in as with the major beats. But anyway, Summer Summit, August 19th, on Saturday, 8 p.m. BST, UK time. And then, straight after, well, not straight after, but on the roadmap anyway, late summer, Deadman Apocalypse. Now, we're hoping to be able to announce the release date next week. That's the goal. So I know you're curious, Deadman players, you don't want to go to school, you don't want to go to work, you're going to probably call in sick if you can't get time off, but we're going to give you as much notice as possible. So hopefully next week we'll be in a position to tell you when it's coming out.
Very exciting. I'm looking forward to that potential release date announcement. I quickly want to touch on what you said about the roadmap and sharing information. One of the first things that I did after we saw the feedback, just got 73 mining, by the way, congrats me. One of the things after seeing all the feedback on poll 80, the first thing that I did was jump into a call with some of the designers and had a chat with them about what we can do going forward in terms of changes to poll 80. Thanks for all the grats, by the way, chat. You guys, you know what? You gas me up. I love it. And one of the things that we're going to look to do is essentially try and confirm the themes for the various QoL polls way more in advance than we do right now, and then have them included at the bottom of the roadmap image on that page that we have active at the moment, and essentially commit to the fact that once we've set a theme, that theme will be stuck to, even if it means that the poll has to be a little bit smaller than than they are at the moment. We can go up to like 20 questions with 30 to 50 changes, but just to make sure that we stay true to what it is that we're basically saying that we're going to be offering, and making sure that consistency remains. Not confirmed yet, but it was one of the first things that I wanted to look at doing as a priority. So you could well see a lot more visibility, at least in terms of what it is that we're doing there. Cool. All right. Well, those were the only two things that we had to talk about. So now we just go on and see what's going on with chat. We've got a whole bunch of questions already added in here now. So let's go with the first one.
Any good ones?
It's in a bit of, it's from chat. Have you gave us any good questions? They're probably, it's Twitch chat. As much as I love you all. Okay, so the first question is, Scythe, Sang, and Shadow quality of life changes were mentioned at the end of poll 79. Why weren't Scythe quality of life changes on poll 80? And what about rune packs? Well, given the fact I worked on this a little bit, or at least I've been closer to it because it's within my remit, I'll talk to this one.
Yes, please.
I think I kind of covered it before with what I said, so these were maybe being gathered whilst I was already talking and waffling away. But we just had to take out a fair bit that we really wanted to cover as part of poll 80 because of resource issues, and we're really sorry about that. We're aware, though, of things like the Scythe, Sang, Shadow, especially the Scythe. I know that we've talked about better ways to charge that, so you can hopefully expect to see that, as well as some bunch of other TOA things addressed in a future poll. That's all I can say on it. In terms of rune packs, don't get me started with rune packs. I'm going to make it clear, I'm an advocate for adding rune packs to the shops, right? But I also understand that sometimes Shopscape is not the best in terms of game design. I don't want to say too much because I'm not sure how much I'm able to say. So I'll just keep it a little bit, We have a team who are currently looking at the issue in regards to like blood runes and stuff, and how we might solve that without going down the route of needing to add them to shops, and actually having it as like engaging game content. Like when the issue with sand came about for Iron Men, we introduced the grinder that you can then use to get them instead of buying them from shops. So we really want to try and make sure that we want to exhaust all of the options. So yeah, if it was me, I would just add them to the shop, but that's why I'm not a game designer, and I would really like to see what the team are able to pull off, because I think they've put together some fantastic content over the last few years. So have a little bit of patience, and fingers crossed you'll see some news shared about that soon. I know for a fact that it was only yesterday that we were talking about making sure that this is a priority as to one of the next things we talk about when it comes to quality of life. So, yeah, that's that. Okay, so next question is, the Lava Dragon change wasn't in the poll. Does this mean it was changed to an unpolled change? Sween, I'm sorry, mate. I'm probably going to chat away for ages now. Feel free to explain whenever you want.
I'll sit and play some Clash Royale or something. You crack on.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your company and your lovely face being here. Okay, so yes, the Lava Dragon change was moved to an unpolled change because we said as soon as the polling charter went out that art, visual style, that kind of stuff wouldn't be polled. But what we would do was consult heavily with the players in regards to changes that we want to make, especially if it comes to something that's quite iconic. And I feel like Lava Dragons fit that category of being quite iconic, which is why we wanted to at least surface it in the poll first, in the blog, sorry, see what you think about it, and then we can take it from there. That doesn't mean that we're just going to change it, because at the end of the day, if you're all pissed off with it, there's no benefit to us changing it, right? You're just going to get mad. You want us to change it back again. So we're taking that feedback on board. We're working with the artists to figure out whether it's actually, one, is it worth us changing it based on the feedback we're getting so far? Two, do we need to look at making an alternate design that fits a little bit better with the feedback we've seen? Or three, do we just leave it as it is? And that's pretty much where we're at. So there's no confirmation, no decision made yet. We're still looking through feedback and working with the art team. It's not going to just get changed out of the blue. We'll let you know if it is going to get changed before it gets changed. And we hope to do that for a lot of other things as well. Cool.
Interestingly, though, I 2017, 2018, I remember there was a bit of a movement to try to get us to change Lava Dragons because they look pretty janky. I remember Legend Arts made a really awesome concept and it was really well supported. And at the time, we were like, no, it's not worth doing it. So I think it's funny how it's kind of flipped that we're like, we want to change it. And then now players don't. When initially it was the other way around. And I'm not really saying much to that. I think it's just quite the way mindsets change over nearly like 6-7 years now. It's quite fun to see.
It is. And actually, you know, I just got confirmation from Mod Sani, who is helping us moderate the stream today, that the ticket in our backlog for changing the Lava Dragons was actually at that time, Sween, that you've just mentioned. It's from literally like 6 years ago. So yeah, player preferences change over time, and maybe it is just a case of leaving it as it is. But
well, like I said, I didn't mean anything by it. I think, you know, if players don't want it to change now, they don't want it to change now. That's cool. Change your mind. All good.
Exactly. And in 3 years' time, we might be looking at changing them again.
Maybe.
Okay. What was the internal Jagex voting for the new skills? Was there a clear bias towards certain skills? You want to take this on, Sween?
I'm trying to remember what I voted for. I think I was Shamanism. But I've really bought into sailing. I'm so stoked to see it. I was lucky enough to sit in yesterday while the Vanguard team were recording a Q&A about the sailing. And it's just cool to see like the passion go through. They're answering a lot of tough topics and tough questions, like, you know, mini game or area expansion instead of skill, blah, blah, blah. And the answers are great. I think you're really going to buy into what they're saying, to what we're saying. So I was Shamanism, but now I'm a proper convert to sailing. And who knows, maybe sailing, it passes, it releases, it does amazingly well, and then players are open to another skill, and maybe that's Shamanism, or maybe it's something else.
Maybe that would be interesting, wouldn't it? I was also in Team Shamanism until, very similar to Sween, we started getting into the nitty-gritty of sailing and just really seeing the passion flow through from the team who are working on it. And I think they would have gave any skill pitch justice to the same degree they have with sailing, to be completely honest. But I'm definitely on board. I'm team sailing now. I'm a convert. To answer the question, though, in terms of like internal Jagex voting, there wasn't like, we didn't make the decision, right? We put it out to the community, and it was always going to be that way. So we didn't have anything internally to say like, this is the one that we have to make sure that we put through. It was entirely down to what the players wanted. The only discussion that we had was with Shamanism and sailing being, you know, relatively close. What do we do? And in the end, we just went with the one that won with the most votes, albeit not by like a landslide of a difference, but we thought we would honor it because we couldn't make the decision ourselves. I don't think there was a clear bias towards certain skills. In fact, it was actually really even across the board. We had people that were team sailing, shamanism, and taming, which for me anyway was a really good sign that the team had put together some really solid concepts. So
what I found interesting was that I feel like some players felt as though we were biased towards sailing, when in actual fact, initially, I hope no one minds me saying it, we weren't going to include sailing as an option, but it just performed really well in the survey that we ran before the kind of that choice of skill. So it was almost like, no, it's the opposite. We're not biased. We weren't even going to do it, but you told us you did want it.
Yeah, it is 100% true as well, because I remember being in the initial planning, and it was a case of sailing will always be seen as this meme skill, and that's a massive risk to us if we want to add something when it comes to, like the actual poll itself. And then as soon as the survey feedback came back, it was like, well, we can't ignore this, because if we ignore this, then it's going to be obvious that we did. So we have to give it a fair shot, because that's what the players have asked for. So yeah, originally sailing wasn't even going to be there until the players told us they wanted it. So yeah, I keep saying "so" at the end of my questions. That's a really bad way to wrap them up. I'm going to think of a new tagline now. Anyway, next question. If and when the next league releases, can we get the period of the next one well in advance for locking in vacation time at work? Thanks! ! Smiley face.
I think, as with Deadman, we're going to do our best to give you as much notice as possible. We want you to be able to play as much as possible. I'm just looking at Sani type something to us.
He's giving me a new way to end questions.
He did. He suggests say less. I like throw it back, man. Mod Archie. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Channel your Archie.
A few moving ons in the chat. Yeah, say less, fam. Oh dear. All right, sorry. Carry on with your point around leagues.
I think I did. Can't remember. Yes. Yeah, we'll give you as much notice as possible, for sure. Same as Deadman.
Cool. All right. Next question. What about bringing back Duel Arena? The answer is no. Next question. If you include the poll themes on the roadmap, how flexible will the themes of the polls be? I fear it might hurt your flexibility and/or delay issues that may need to be included into a poll sooner than later. Absolutely valid point. 100% could happen. Yeah, really good question. But even though we have themes, and for as long as we've had themes now, we've always included extra little bits here or there. And we would continue to do that. So yes, we would have a theme. The commitment would be that we would have the majority of the content into that poll being around that theme. But there's always space for extra things to be added. So if something did come up that really needed to be addressed and it could only be addressed via a poll, then we'd include it within there. And this also doesn't mean that we would be limited to only doing the themed polls. This is just a commitment to make sure that if we are going to do a theme poll, we stick to it. There's still potential for us to add other polls within those and have, a random miscellaneous bunch of questions that we just need to get through. So I just did it again. So, right. Would it be possible to change automatic XP rewards from quests to XP lamps instead? Then pure builds like myself can still obtain a quest cape / achievement cape without having to gain certain XP. We could then just disregard the XP lamp. I'm sure chat will love this one. What do you reckon, Sween?
I mean, would it be possible? Yeah, it sounds like it's possible. Would players like it to happen? It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, it's a big sad. And I know Twitch chat are very, well, most of the community are really anti-pure, which I will say, I get it, but I think it's quite sad at the same time. And I don't mean that to make you all feel bad about being nasty people. It's just that I want to see people play the game and enjoy the game. And if people choose to limit themselves and the only reason they can't do particular content isn't because of their ability, but it's because it's going to give them a reward that is entirely irrelevant to the content on offer, then why do we have to stop them from doing that? I don't think it would be right to remove requirements from a quest. If a quest needed you to have 40 defense, I wouldn't expect you to be able to complete that if we were to make XP lamps be given instead of XP from quests. That would be better, say, for something like the official account builds idea that was put forward earlier on, which obviously didn't go down too well. But in terms of like just being able to do content that people have the ability to do, that the only reason they can't is because they'll get some experience, which is completely negligible to the majority of people who play. I don't really see a problem with that, and I'd really love for us to be able to explore it, just so that people can enjoy playing the game the way that they want to play it. But maybe a little bit of an unpopular opinion.
Would it, if I was to draw a parallel between players saying you choose to limit yourself, and then 10 minutes ago asking for rune packs and stuff, is that, I don't know, is that too inaccurate? Am I stretching a bit too much? I don't know.
I'm letting you cook. I'm letting you cook. We could go on to this topic for the whole live stream.
I'd rather
I'm
not.
Gonna make many enemies.
That's what I'm wary of. I know it's not the same, but there are parallels. Look, I think I used to play Pures when I was younger. They're really fun to play with. It's a tough one. It is a tough one. I like the flexibility. I like the idea that, you know, allowing Pures access to more content is just going to it's going to give them access to more content. They're going to have a better time playing because of that. They're going to be able to do more things, open up more of a game. And if it only affects them, then why not? It's not negatively impacting many other players. That's what I'm saying.
I reckon Mods Sween for the president of Old School RuneScape, and you need to bring back the hot takes on a Friday.
I reckon somewhere out there it's they're printing off a picture for the dartboard or something.
No, they're printing off a picture to put in a frame to put next to their pillow. That's what it is.
Oh.
And they can, you know, like the meme with, is it like Batman?
Shall we move on and answer stuff that lets players like us more?
Okay, all right. I'm gonna. Ooh, there's a load of questions in here that we just can't answer because they're more like design questions. Let me see. Oh, there's a lot of questions in here that are very much dedicated to developers. For those that are gathering chat questions for us, can we maybe have some questions that would be a little bit more generic? And for chat, who are asking questions, remember that neither myself or Sween are developers. So we can't really tell you in terms of what things are and aren't possible. We're just going to have to answer probably. So more generic questions are probably better. Talking about our experience on things, our opinion on something would be great. And I will go to, like, for example, can you add a bank all feature to the death chest? Like, yeah, probably. What's the update about negative XP lamps? Well, they failed the poll, and we'll have to look at polling them again in the future. But we can't really go into much more detail than that.
This is good. This could be like the most answered questions on one stream. Every answer is yeah, maybe.
Okay, whilst they get populated, then let's speedrun some. Let's speedrun some questions. All right. With higher hitting weapons, has Jagex considered adding higher healing food in the wilderness?
I can't find where you're losing.
Oh, there's number 10. I skipped 2 because they weren't very good.
Oh, gotcha. I don't know if you've considered it. Moving on. Go on. I'm kidding.
No, for what it's worth, we haven't.
Sure.
No. There have been discussions around adding, and this isn't within Jagex, but they're within the Old School team. This is within the community. I know some players have like put forward the idea of having flasks within the wilderness so that you have more food. But in terms of higher healing food, not right now. I don't think we need it, though. If we do look to increase max hits much more, then it might be something that has to be considered. To throw a spanner in the works, right? Actually, now we can talk about this question a little bit more. Sween, how do you feel about the prospect of damage reduction armor instead of more healing food? So you have an armor piece that counters like a new max hit because you take like 5 less damage.
It seems just like a roundabout way of implementing what came with the next sets in RS, but instead of adding like a straight up boost, it's more of a soak. So what, like the old Divine?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, like the old Divine, actually.
I mean, the Divine specifically failed the poll like 4 times, but maybe implemented another way, it'd be a bit more acceptable from players.
Perhaps. I know we've got like Justicia armor and such, which does similar, but that's very much focused on the defensive and doesn't have great offensive capabilities. So I just said so again. That's going to really annoy me. All right. Next question. Can we get another bot busting stream?
So we were good. Let's be honest. Let's be honest, Ayiza. We were going to do
Honest
one.
is the best
it should have been
policy.
done by
Let's do
now.
it.
Yeah. We were going to do one, but there was like a short stint where it felt like botting was just worse than ever. And we've covered more since then. There are implemented more checks and more processes for things like the worldy bosses and revs and whatnot. But yeah, like we were going to do one. It wasn't the right time. We think it would look bad, to be honest. So we would much rather do one after we've shared some plans around how we plan to tackle botting in the future, which we are working on. And I know, and here's the thing. We want to wait until we've actually got something to show you. We want to be able to show you, because you've read so many blogs from us over the years of, yeah, we're going to fix this, yeah, we're going to work on that. And I think with subjects like that and like account security, but we've implemented Jagex accounts now, those really big kind of like endemic non-game but still game issue, you're tired of reading blogs, so we'll have to show you what we're going to be doing. And I think the bot busting stream should follow that. Once you've got more trust in us again, that's when we can start doing fun stuff like bot busting streams. Until then, I think it'd feel like we're just taking the piss a bit, and I don't want to do that.
Well said, Sween. Well said. Thank you for that. All right, I got another juicy question for you here. Are there any exciting marketing plans that are different or unique happening in the future? AKA, when are you sending me to a desert island on a boat so I can show you what it means to be a sailor that has been stranded on an island?
When the sailing passes in the pole, the first thing we do.
There you go. All right, it's locked in. Someone clip it and ship it. But to the actual real question, though, are there any exciting marketing plans that are different or unique?
I feel like by announcing our marketing plans, we're almost then announcing the announcements and just defeating the point of the marketing plans. We've got some cool stuff in the works. Definitely tune into the Summer Summit on August the 19th.
What time again?
8 p.m. BST, which is what, 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific, whatever it is in Australia. I don't know.
Man knows his time zones almost.
Google it.
Google it.
I'm pretty sure that's what I think I said. Yeah, I say that too often. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be quite so flippant, but I'm not going to Google it right now. So maybe you should.
Fair enough. All right. So. What's your opinion on repolling failed polls and the frequency of doing so? That was in the question. That wasn't me adding it in. My opinion on repolling failed polls. I think they're great, and also they're not great at the same time. There are some things that failed and should stay failed, and that we should never revisit again. I'm not going to pick out any in particular, but yeah.
Why? There are some really bad polls that we probably aren't ever going to revisit again, right? Partnerships poll.
Yeah, no, there are.
Dead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll happily say the partnerships one, but I was more on the lines of I didn't want to, maybe talk about someone's design that I didn't particularly like as a player and upset anyone within the team, But there are absolutely things that fail and should stay failed, and we should never revisit again. However, that being said, I also feel like there are a lot of things that failed and player mentalities have changed and shifted, or metas have changed and evolved. New content has been added that might make something that we'd polled before that wasn't really needed and failed back then actually way more relevant now. I think a really good and also bad example of this is the VLS. The VLS is now usable within Bounty Hunter, so even though we've polled that so many times now, for what it's worth, I don't think we're going to be looking at repolling the VLS again in the future, given it's now in the current poll. We'll have to see how it goes, but if it was to fail this time round, that might end up being the end of it. But because Bounty Hunter was out and because Bounty Hunter allows you to use the VLS, it seemed like a good opportunity to say, okay, you know what? We've asked if it should have been in PvP worlds before. It was restricted heavily to just a certain criteria of PvPers. That didn't go down too well with the general player base. So let's see if player opinions have shifted and whether or not that should be usable in PvP worlds as well as Bounty Hunter now. And yeah, that's like an edge case because of how many times it's been repolled. But generally, what I said before, is that some things deserve to be repolled, some don't. All right. As a player, what content do you, brackets Ayiza and Sween, want to see updated or changed? Maybe something you think is clunky or could just be improved to be more fun. Ooh.
I would like to see Clan Wars revisited, because that was the most fun I've ever had in RuneScape, and that's where I made some of my best friends to this day, many, many years ago. I'd like to see old maps introduced, like the old turret map, which was what we used to war on. I'd like to see like a match log for history. Like most of the time you PvP as part of a clan in organized fights like that, it's because of clout, right? And you want to see your name, you want to see your clan name at the top of the rankings, whether that was on the RSB or whether that was on RSC or Zybez or whatever, where we moved to. You just wanted to see your clan at the top of the leaderboard. So something like that in game would be great. Maybe some way of arranging fights using like a lot of things as well, right? Member list swapping and using other people on different accounts and stuff. It'd be cool if there's some way of in-game where you could lock a member list in. This is stuff like I wanted for years and years. Like this is probably what I would have said 13 years ago. I don't know if it'd make me go, like, I don't do clanning anymore. It takes way too much time, way too much effort. Maybe that would bring me back. I'm not sure. I'd like to like reconnect with some old pals and, you know, get some scrims in, but I think Clan Wars, that would be interesting. I'm seeing in the chat too, other mini games like Castle Wars. Same thing. Just improve matchmaking, improve the community around it. I don't think you need to add tons of rewards and stuff. I think the people who want to play will play it if they're able to get enough clout for doing it.
Fair enough. Pretty solid answer. But if I was to guess your answer, I think I would have gone with Clan Wars. You know, I know you've mentioned it quite a lot now in the time that I've known you. For me, though, I don't. Be careful what I say. I think I'm going to play it somewhat safe. There's a whole bunch of content that I think feels clunky just across the board, but I also realize I've not experienced all of the content. Like, I would say mining, for example. I hate mining and I hate agility, but I've not done Volcanic Mine or the Hallowed Sepulchre. So that could entirely change my opinion of those two skills. But if I was to say one thing that is absolutely on my mind in terms of what I would love to see updated or changed, it would be the PvP arena. I think the PvP arena has a huge amount of potential. Maybe not so much for the general players that want to just jump in and get those 1v1s. I think we're a little bit past that, and I actually think Bounty Hunter is a better thing to provide that. But maybe it falls in line with what you're saying around Clan Wars, in all honesty, Sween, is having the PvP arena actually way more functional than it is in terms of being able to organize tournaments on a smaller scale than perhaps Clan Wars would be able to. But the functionality, the technology that went into making the PvP arena possible is like next level for Old School. And I feel like it's just such a massive shame that it's how it is now. I'd love to just be able to throw out to people and say, go and host a tournament. Let us know when you're putting it together. We'll put together some prize pool money for it. Shout it out. Maybe even help you with broadcasting, so on and so forth. But it's not that easy. And yeah, or maybe even bringing the functionality out of the PvP arena.
Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, oh, it's okay. I was just going to say maybe even bringing the functionality out of the PvP arena in for other content. You know, we have the ability for you to queue up for a fight and then automatically be transported to the world that it then gives you, you know, that content without you having to do anything. And I feel like there's a lot of potential there that we've just slept on. And that's that. Okay. Any RuneFest 2024 confirmation? There was talk of it maybe being in 2024, but nothing confirmed.
Sadly, we aren't announcing RuneFest on some random chat stream. I'd love to say yes, but
what?
I know, mate, I know. I'd feel very happy if we were entrusted with that announcement, like just 40 minutes into a random Q&A. I'm still very hopeful that we'll have RuneFest in 2024, but you'll get, if there's ever any confirmation, it will be from like the official sources and not just us, I'm afraid.
It's true, as sad as it is to say. However, on a lighter note, if you were around for the Old School's birthday stream, we did have Mod Pips on, who has said that he would very much like to see RuneFest return. And to have the CEO of Jagex turn around and put out quite a bold statement should hopefully fill everyone with a little bit of hope that it will be coming back. We want to see RuneFest return. It is definitely up there in terms of my favourite memories to have working on Old School, or even just being as a player, because I got to go before as a player as well. So definitely want to see them come back, but nothing that we can share here right now. Yeah, a lot of hopium. Thanks for that, Trilitex. I like that. I'm going to be huffing my hopium. Give me your best pitches for the sailing pet and why you want it like that.
Either I can't remember the name of the race, but the turtles, Flooper, like a little mini Flooper. That's all I want, right? I can't think of anything else that's good, because we've already got like sea creatures. You've already got Kraken pet and stuff. So I don't think we need to go that route. I think just have a little turtle.
It's like, you know, great minds think alike, because that is exactly what I would say too. I want to see a little turtle pet. Why? Because, well, Flooper was hella cute, and I think it would make for an amazing pet, generally speaking. And I'd also love for us to have transmog options where we can put headbands on the turtle, and there would be, what is it, red, blue, purple, and orange. And I'll get my own little Leonardo, I'll call him, with his blue headband on.
It's a cool idea.
Thank you.
I mean,
all by myself.
A little rat pet. Out. That could be PvP pet.
Yeah, the rat boss can have the rat pet, and it can be in the wilderness. No, well, Sani put together a design for Game Jam, didn't he, with his rat boss? So could potentially happen. Mm-hmm. Who knows?
True.
All right. Was the BA stream with the community managers something that is genuinely being planned to be done? Because that would be awesome to watch. Really fast answer, yes. It was actually going to be last week. It was potentially going to be instead of this stream, but it might just happen to be the next stream or the stream afterwards. But we do intend to do Barbarian Assault as a team, which will be fun. I love Barb Assault.
Actually, right.
Oh well, you're not in community anymore. What do you mean? You can come. You can come be my attacker. I feel really bad now. That's just.
No, it's cool.
Is dying,
it's cool.
Sween.
I think it was my idea,
okay.
But never mind. You guys have fun.
You know, the best ideas are the ones you don't make up yourself. All right, there's a question for you here, Mods Sween. What were you drinking last night?
Oh, a nice lager called British lager, and then a ton of this like proper. I don't want to say that word, but proper weird IPAs and stuff. Like he's getting like a trendy hipster Cambridge bar. It's quite nice. And then some Negronis. Probably way too many Negronis. I was mixing. Wasn't good. Don't recommend it.
Ooh, sounds like. I love how you started off though, with like British lager.
British lager.
It's cool. You just sounded so English saying it as well. It was great. Okay, I'm going to skip down on the question sheet here for Mod Spear in the back, and I'm going to go to question number 36 for now. And that is, what are the next steps for the C++ client, and will we see any further features soon?
I believe the next group of features are related to high scores, like adding a high scores panel and in-game lookup and that kind of stuff too. Next steps, as of today, as you mentioned earlier, it's in the launcher, so check it out. And I mean, it's related because it's a C++ client. I'm pretty sure we intend to talk more about the mobile TLI beta quite soon too, right? And that's entwined because it's bringing the C++ features, which I know many desktop players don't really care about because you are playing on RuneLite, just like I am, and just like Ayiza is now mining this sandstone. But this means that the C++ client features will be on mobile, which is exciting, and you do care about.
Very much so. I'm going to take full advantage of that this evening while I'm chilling on your sofa using my iPad, mining my sand. Okay, next question. Can you give us an update on Bounty Hunter collection log? Forestry got one quickly after it was missed. Well, I'll tell you from my own opinion, because I've not been extremely involved with Bounty Hunter. It was more Goblin who was helping out with the release itself. And if it was, in my own opinion, I imagine that what happened was that it was either one or two things. It was missed off and we just haven't added them in, which is what happened with Forestry, or it was intentional because we didn't want people who weren't bothered with engaging in Bounty Hunter for Bounty Hunter to essentially abuse and boost just to get collection log slots completed, because that's an unfortunate reality that we have to face. That being said, I personally don't mind the Bounty Hunter things being added to the collection log. I think it makes sense, and I believe that we have enough measures in place to stop people from, just outright going into boosting for them. So I'll take that back to the team and see what they say. I'd like to see them added in there, and I also believe that they should be, regardless of the reasons as to why they're not. And that will answer that one. Okay. Your thoughts on changing the 2000 Chambers of Xeric challenge mode cape to include regular mode kill count? Well, it's not the same thing though, is it? What do you reckon, Sween?
Mate, I'm probably never ever going to get anywhere near that amount of kills. I don't have an opinion. Like, ask the people who do the content a lot. It's probably my answer. Otherwise, I'd just be winging it.
Cool. Makes sense. I remember having to work on that project. Challenge mode.
Me too. That sucked. That came out of nowhere, that challenge mode project. Didn't like that.
Yep.
I remember that very well. We were so stressed. But hey, we're still here. I mean, we left, but then we came back. Here. But we're still here.
Yeah. And things are much better now. So, yeah, an interesting time. I remember proposing, like, I didn't even propose it myself. Players suggested that there should be a cape with like an extreme kill count requirement on it, so that the few people who would go for that many could flex it. But then collection log happened, and now many people want to get green lines in the book. So I can see why it's a bit of a difference. But back then it was just meant to be like this harmless addition that if you really loved challenge mode and did it 2,000 times, you would get the cape. Which then I think meant that it... Because this was after Theatre of Blood as well, and Theatre of Blood has a similar cape with... is it like 1,000? Maybe? Can't remember the exact number, or 500, something like that. But the Chambers one's really cool because it's got different tiers and different models for each tier. Oh, it's 2,000 for TOB as well. Cool, thanks for the reminder. Anyway, next question. So yeah, I mean, my thoughts are they're not the same thing. So no, but if people really wanted us to change it, like, that's for you to decide. Scream about it, let us know. How many different teams are there that work on Old School RuneScape, and what is the purpose of each team? Ooh, that's a big one. Let me just load up the Old School page really quickly.
I'm doing straight to Confluence. Yeah,
there's a lot. You can reel through it then, Sween. I'm hosting. That's my excuse.
All right. What we got?
Maybe don't say the names of the teams. I can't remember if that's something that you were meant to keep.
Yeah. Like, it looks... Oh, do I have to split it up in terms of dev team and stuff? I don't know. Everyone around the studio...
Art, QA, audio, finance, support. It's crazy.
And then even HR, creative services. Yeah. Tons. Lots. What I think is brilliant is the amount of support we've got from Jagex for an Old School RuneScape. I don't want to say we didn't have that, say, in Old School's first few years, but now, like, we are a high priority for the studio. They're making sure we're well looked after, we're really well supported. We've got a great leadership team in place. I'm stoked. That's why I came back. Awesome. But I don't know how to answer your question. We've got so many different dev teams to split up, and as I know, it's just going to be a massive number. But of all the hundreds of employees that Jagex has, a lot of them touch Old School either directly or indirectly on like an often basis.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's just great to see as well that the team's growing consistently. Mm-hmm. We've got a load of roles open at the moment. There's more than likely going to be new roles opening up soon. And if you see how big just the direct Old School team alone has grown over these years, look at the old news posts like mod signature sign-offs compared to now. It's incredible. And then think on top of that, there are all the other people that are involved that aren't listed in that news post but still help contribute towards Old School. that's also growing too. So a lot. Is the team looking at more collaborations with other games, for example, Smite?
Not talking about that example directly, but the answer is yes. We've got I don't want to say the P word because of that poll from many years ago, but the partnerships team who do amazing work, and it's not just about that poll, completely separate. It's other stuff too. We've got a fair bit progressing along, and also quite a lot in like the early stages of discussion with other studios and other companies and stuff. It's I think it's cool. What I'd like to really get to is the point where people are really proud to say that they play old school RuneScape, and you're seeing old school RuneScape in many different places on many different games and many different collaborations. Stoked. I like the Smite one. I don't play Smite. I dabbled with it when we released it. I think I don't know, that they really got the old school vibe down nicely with Gnome Child, even though he looked odd in that cinematic, but it was really, yeah. I'd love to see more books. I'd love to see a little, a TV show and stuff. A lot of our creators are so good now as well. The Scold, who we work with a lot, I really like his kind of anime, RuneScape adaptations and stuff too. It got you thinking. Yeah. And we know there are tons of weebs who play our game. They probably would watch an anime. I know I would.
There's a lot of possibilities right here, right now.
Exactly.
I know that we've been talking about an old school anime for years now and how we might make it possible. But yeah, it is really cool to see. And you're right, Smite absolutely nailed it. And I think if more companies out there would want to incorporate old school in some way, shape or form, I'd love to see it. And now we've got a load of IAs in chat. All right, love to all the weebs out there. We respect you. Rise up. Don't be afraid. You don't have to hide in the shadows anymore. It's 2023. We're all good. It's cool now. Do you watch movies or listen to podcasts / music whenever you're gaming? If so, which ones?
Not so much movies, but I do listen to music and listen to podcasts. My favorite podcast is Fall of Civilizations. Love history. It's epic. It's so good. I've recently rewatched Ken Burns' Vietnam documentary. It's like 30 hours. That's great. That's really good gaming content on the side as well. Music wise, proper eclectic. At the moment, it's the sun, man. When the sun is shining, I like to listen to like some disco, some funk, some R&B. Just what I'm like. I like all hips, man. I'm all hips.
I was literally just about to say the same thing. Imagine you vibing out in your room, shaking the hips, clicking every few minutes to make sure you don't AFK.
We discussed this on the weekend we were hanging out. Deftones are like my favorite band ever, so always Deftones as well.
Cool, very insightful. Thank you, Sween. For myself, I find it really difficult actually to watch content and play RuneScape at the same time, even when I'm doing something really AFK. It's like, I imagine, and this is going to be a bit of an out there take, don't worry, I don't do this for what it's worth, but I'm the type of person that if I botted in RuneScape, I would watch my character botting. And I don't know why. So when I'm playing, I just look at my screen. Even though if I'm like doing something AFK, I could be AFKing sand crabs, and I would watch my character AFK the sand crabs. So I find it really difficult to do things on the side. That being said, if I am going to be doing anything whilst I'm playing old school, I'll be watching Twitch. And that is how I pretty much stay on top of things. Chat is going wild. I said I don't do that. I said if it was a hypothetical scenario, chat, please. I don't want to do that. My job. Yeah. No, I don't. But no, I watch Twitch and I watch a lot of old school creators. I'm still really into TFT, even though I don't play it. So I'll watch people playing TFT. And music-wise, I don't really have a diverse taste in music. I listen to a lot of pop punk, and that is pretty much my vibe. Always has been, probably always will be for the rest of my life. But then there's the occasional time I'll go out of that, a little bit of I don't know, EDM. It's just, it is what it is, Okay, now moving on. How did you decide your Jagex Mod nicknames?
This is my nickname. Has been growing up forever. Wasn't very creative. Kind of regret it. Maybe I should have chosen something more creative. But it's also me. It's like I'd be different. Like nominative determinism, innit? It works for me. It's related to my name, my real name. Not I'm going to dox myself, but yeah.
I like it though, because like I can call you Sween and it's not weird, because you just go by Sween as well, right? And I think I probably call you Sween more than I do your real name, maybe. So,
which you can say because it's now my Twitter handle. I got doxed by I got doxed by Wolf and Mike D. It just didn't stop. It was like a really short period of time. Yeah,
it happens sometimes, but yeah, for me, not. I mean, it's not my name. It used to be my name in World of Warcraft, and then I.
What do you mean it's not your name? Your name's not Ayiza?
No, my name is in fact not Ayiza. Sorry to disappoint everyone. I actually found out that when I joined Jagex and I actually looked into my name, it's quite a popular female name for in Indonesia, which I had no idea of at the time. But yeah, it originated from World of Warcraft. I watched a movie called oh no, what's it called? Is it Azumi? I think it is, or Ayumi. I think it's Ayumi actually. It's let me Google it. It's basically about a female samurai. Oh, it's Azumi. There we go. Yeah, a female samurai, and I just loved the movie series. And then I tried to make that name in WoW, and it didn't happen. So I was like iterating on the letters, and finally settled with Ayiza. Made it in WoW, made it in RuneScape, made it my Twitch name. Went to join Jagex. Everyone told me not to use it because I'd never get a moment's peace. I used it anyway, and now everyone knows who I am, which is cool, but also not, because now I can't be mean to people in game. Not that I would be. But you know.
Why?
All right, we've got.
Why?
I mean, I'm not a mean person anyway, so I don't even know why I said that. I just thought it'd be one, you know, it's like tongue in cheek, isn't it? Last question. Are there plans to add the game status updates to the official Jagex launcher?
Yes, there are plans to do that, and also just try and improve just the availability of the messaging generally anyway. We have on the Old School website, there is a status page, which is always there, always updated. But immediately, we do recognize that maybe like just the word status of a little love heart isn't the most immediately recognizable thing. So I think we're going to change that to game status. What we'd also like to do is use that massive empty space on the Old School website and put a message there as well, maybe. So yeah, we want to try and being able to share messaging more widely, but it takes time to implement the changes. Similarly on mobile, right? If you're a mobile only player, perhaps you're not likely to go straight to the website and see what's up. How can we communicate, you know, if the game's down to players? I think push notifications probably, but the opt-in, the amount of people who have opted in is quite low. So I think we'd have to do some stuff to try it and see if we can increase that. And maybe it would go up anyway if we started using push notifications to share news about outages and whatnot. But there's also not that many, generally. I know it feels like this year there have been issues with either the game worlds or the launcher, but I think it's just a bit of a freak flurry.
Yeah, I hope that we're able to talk a little bit more in the near future around work that we've been doing, because there's been a considerable amount of work going on in the background that has just been kept under the radar for real valid reasons. And we do want to talk about them at some point, but a lot of it all comes together. So there's been a lot of changes, and hopefully we'll be able to mention that more. Oh, okay. We've got one last thing being written here by one of our wonderful mod team, and I have to ask it. You can only choose one, Ayaya or Uwu.
Well, it doesn't mean, just because I can only choose one, doesn't mean I have to.
No, but in this instance,
either.
Hypothetically, you have to pick one.
Hypothetically, you won't catch me saying any of those things.
Oh, I will. You wait. I'm going to catch you out now. All right. Well, I'm not afraid to say it. I'll pick Uwu any day. Any time of the day. Always. If there's a question between Uwu or Owo, I don't know about that. That's a tougher one. Anyway, we've got some content to show that our wonderful creators have been making behind this. Well, not behind the scenes. They've been making them and sharing them publicly, but it's not within Jagex. So let's have a look at them. And the first that we have is actually from Scythe, who has put together a different variant of the Torva set to better suit the female character model. And there are actually 2 versions of it. This one, well, there we go. We go from the Oppenheimer to the Barbie version. And I think these are absolutely awesome. They look fantastic. Which one do you prefer, Sween?
What I find interesting is, like, in the industry, across the industry now, we're moving more towards like gender neutral armors. And here we are, it's like, no, we don't want that. I want to proper fight it up. Go more. What
you gotta give the players what they want.
The pink one just reminds me of all of the beta world rewards we had.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be quite fitting though, at least.
Mm.
Maybe if we get pink graceful, then pink Torva can happen as well. I like them both. I would rock that on my character. I would definitely, we should be able to make it so that you can wear it as both male and female characters. That would be great. Or the different body types. I'd be down for that. But really great work, really fantastic. And I believe that the pink version was pulled together within a matter of like an hour after it was posted. So good job, Scatito. All right. Next one is Lego Jad, and this is by Hi How Are Ya from Reddit. They've designed a Lego Jad at stud.io and then built it in real life. Really cool.
That's awesome. We were given like a not Lego but Lego-like building block set of a KBD, which is really cool for the 20th anniversary. I keep meaning to give that away to a player because I'm not going to build it, but I love looking at them. This is awesome.
It really is awesome. That KBD, by the way, it's over like 2,000 pieces. So good luck. I think Sani, it took him a good couple of hours to get that done. So
maybe I'll just give it away to a player.
Maybe. Oh, that's nice of you. Mine's in storage somewhere. I need to grab that back out. Okay. Next up is a 2-foot Jad plushie by the wonderful Witchcrafty, who never ceases to amaze us with her fantastic creativity. There's even a banana there for scale. How insane is that?
Yeah, I'm jealous, man. I've got the small one, and I'm like, no, I want that. Reminds me,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Sorry, we were going to say remind you, and I cut you off.
I was going to go to nostalgic childhood crap, and no one wants to hear that. And I'd stop myself.
Yeah, we do. Come on, give us nostalgia. We want. We all play a game from 2007. You think we don't like nostalgia?
No, I mean, the less said about my childhood, the better. Let's move on. But this is great.
Okay. All right, we'll move on. Fantastic work as always, Witchcrafty, and I hope to see this in the store one day because I will instantly buy it. All right, and then we have 2 more to share. The next one, is a home teleport rug by Belly Rugs, and this is made by Escaper for cozy home vibes. Really cool. I love the shoes as well. I have that exact same pair of Vans. Same color.
I was going to say that. I've seen you wear them.
Big fan of this though. Have you ever seen the process of people making rugs? You know, like they use a gun and like blast a gun onto some canvas stuff, and then they have to shave it with like hair trimmers. It's so satisfying to watch. I'm letting you know a little bit about my YouTube feed now. It's oddly satisfying.
Well, the talent.
A lot of time and effort.
The last few years, the community has just gone to such new heights in terms of what they're producing, what they're creating. Golden Gnomes, we're going to need like 30 different categories.
I know, right? That's like, how many different artistic creations can we do now? We absolutely love it though. So please, whoever is out there that's creative enough to make something cool, please do share it with us. Post it on Reddit, tag us on Twitter. We try and grab things whether they've gone viral or not. So, and even if we don't feature them on here, a lot of the team do see them. We share things around pretty much daily that we've seen from the community, and the whole team really appreciate it. So if you could, that would be amazing. It definitely makes their day. Then lastly, we have some Old School RuneScape themed birthday presents from Kirbia. And this was a player's, it says a player's boyfriend made 2 OSRS shadow boxes for her birthday. The baby runes are precious. They really are. I love the display case. So
I love the little model. Like the imagine that as like a snow globe type thing.
Yeah. Oh, actually, cool. You know what? Vorkath's snow globe? Our merch team's missing a trick. We need to get on that. Great idea. Cool. Well, that was everything for today's live stream. I just want to say thank you to everyone in chat for giving us all your questions, because we weren't prepared. But actually, you know what? You gave us some pretty good ones, and I respect that. I had a lot of fun. Did you have fun today, Sween?
You know what? I did. Always a great time when it's I get to talk to you, chat to you.
Aw, that's cute. I thought you were going to say, you know what, I didn't, and I was about to feel heartbroken. I swear you were going to say no. Did you have fun, chat? Can we get some smiley faces or pop friends in the chat if you had a good time today? Let's spread some positivity whilst we can. And whilst I do that, I'm going to go over the announcements once more. And that is !poll. Check out our latest poll. It includes the Awakened Desert Treasure 2 bosses, Blood Torva, and Quality of Life for the Wilderness, Tombs of Massacre, and more. You can vote in-game via the account settings menu or a poll booth. If you're interested in more about the Awakened bosses, !Awakened will tell you all you need to know about the new harder variants of the Desert Treasure 2 bosses currently being polled. Hopefully you'll be able to see those in-game, as well as the updated Torva, and that's the base Torva, not the Torva that you're seeing on screen by Scythe, who has made a very different version that is also very awesome. Desert Treasure 2, it releases next week, July the 26th. Make sure that you're ready for it, !DT2, if you want to see all the info on that with the requirements, so on and so forth. And then lastly, !Client, some exciting news. The C++ client, which was typically only available on Steam, is now available in the Jagex launcher. So try it out, find out more about what this means with !Client. That is going to be it for us today, folks. Thank you so much. I saw all the pop friends, all the smiley faces. I'm glad you enjoyed yourselves. May RNG be on your side for the rest of the evening, the rest of the week, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.